Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Remy, and today I'm bringing you some 3v3 gameplay. I go 15-4. I'm playing with my boy Quest or Decimate. Is his YouTube, and he's been helping me out a lot. So I know some of y'all came from his channel. Thank you so much for subbing and watching my videos. It means a lot. It lets me know I have an audience out there. And I'm also playing, you might have seen him in his videos, I'm not sure, but I'm also playing with Meteor in this gameplay, and both I found to be very, very good players to play GBs with. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick commentary over the gameplay and what I wanted to talk about. I hope it doesn't offend some of y'all. I don't see why what I would talk about would be offensive per se. It might be a little shocking to some people, but I don't see why it would be offensive. But what I wanted to talk about today, I'm sure y'all have heard about this crisis going on today. This disease being spread everywhere, and people freaking out about it, all this kind of stuff, all this fear about it. But it's Ebola, and no, I don't care if you make Ebola jokes, but I mean, if at your own will. Like, I don't think Ebola jokes are very funny, but if you do, go ahead and make them under the comments. But that's not, it's not funny. That's the reason I want to talk about it today, because it's the opposite of funny. What's going on in our government right now? As some of you know, our government Obama's not doing the best job as president, and there's a lot of mysterious things going on in our government regarding this Ebola crisis. So let me give y'all a little bit of data, or not particularly data, but let me lay out what I'm gonna be talking about. So Ebola, it's this crisis. There's been YouTube videos saying it's a hoax. There's been like, there was a lady taken off on a cart into a jet with everybody in hazmat suits except one person with a clipboard. He wasn't even protected, and he was standing right next to the victim. And I mean, there's all these things pointing towards it being a hoax, all this kind of stuff. I don't know if I would call it a hoax, but I would call it, if anything, I would say there's a few things that it could possibly be. One, it could be a hoax. It could be for people to take their attention off of something else in the Middle East. There's all these different things. Governments do this. There's no denying that our government will do this, will distract us from something like ISIS, something bigger. I don't know if y'all know what ISIS is, but it's in the Middle East, and something bigger, an issue at hand that they don't want the public to look into. But my problem with this, if I were to say anything, if anything is a hoax about it, I were to say they're testing a chemical weapon on the populace. And I know that sounds absolutely scary, ridiculous, but it's plausible, guys. Because if you think about it, how are they going to test a chemical weapon? By the way, is a chemical, like a virus that is spread through a population. Instead of it's used instead of hard, you call it hard force or hard weaponry. It's used instead of nuclear weapons, all this other kind of stuff. But they could be testing it on our populace, guys. Just that's a possibility. It's not necessarily what I believe, but what I wanted to get to, there's the company. Okay, everybody's like, we gotta make a vaccine. And if y'all don't know what a vaccine is, it's what combats these viruses. It's dead viruses that you take. You probably take a flu shot all the time. That's a vaccine. And so they're freaking out about we gotta make a vaccine. We gotta make a vaccine. And the company that's handling this vaccine is in Great Britain. They're called GlaxoSmithKline. And they're saying that they'll have the vaccine ready by the end of 2014. Do you know how ridiculous that is? They don't have enough time to test it long term. They don't have enough time to test it hardly at all. Like, okay, guys, normal vaccines take 10 to 30 years to test, because they want to test it and make sure the dead viruses don't mutate into other viruses. And I know this sounds a little bit scary when I talk about mutate, but it happens, guys. It happened in Nigeria. But anyway, dead viruses can mutate, can be combined. What they're making the vaccine out of is they're going to use a dead Ebola virus and a dead rabies virus. And if you've ever watched I Am Legend, this is what happened with in I Am Legend. They combined this rabies dead virus with some sort of Well, I forgot what they called it, but something to do with the cancer. They were trying to cure cancer or whatever, and it mutated, and it caused a zombie-like effect amongst the populace and killed almost everybody. And this is very scary, assuming that this GlaxoSmithKline company is going to be unable to test this vaccine long term because they're trying to push it out as soon as they can. And this is scary, guys. This isn't a joke. This is scary. And another thing that scares me about this company that I recently researched about them is that 2 years ago they agreed to pay $3 billion in a fraud settlement, which means that what happened was that they gave incentives to physicians to prescribe the drugs that they were testing. They were testing drugs on the populace called Wellbutrin, other antidepressants, and also asthma medication, and they were giving physicians incentives like trips to California, other exotic trips if they were to prescribe children that didn't fit, like that, like they didn't give them any other alternatives, any other antidepressant alternatives, and another one of those drugs was Wellbutrin, and they gave them to kids, and they admitted to it. And also another thing is they also were accused of another massive bribery network. They bribed a bunch of Chinese people. I didn't read much more about it, but they were fined almost $500 million. And so these guys are frauds. The people that are making y'all's vaccinations for this Ebola, this really ridiculous Ebola virus that's not going to be tested properly, the people that are making this have been fraudulent, have been frauds, have not been good examples of a nice health organization, but we're trusting that. The government is trusting them for some strange reason. But anyway, all I want to do is tell y'all to open y'all's minds. Don't live in a box. Don't just believe everything that the government does, because the government has the potential to be corrupt. But there you go. There you have it. 15-4, 3 plants. I just went off that game. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this topic. I hope I was informative. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope y'all like the whole direct controversial topics. And it's been your boy Remy. Peace.